Hello again. It's your old pal Adam from Adam's Corner, here to talk to you about some physical media releases from the month of March 2024. There's a couple here that I didn't get to on the last Kino video, a couple of Kino releases and some other stuff, but we'll start with the ones that are probably the most anticipated. And that would be two of the James Cameron titles. Now, mind you, there were three James Cameron titles that were released in the month of March for the first time ever on 4K. One of those titles I didn't purchase, and that was Aliens. And they don't send review copies to me of the Disney. Disney has stopped long ago sending me review copies of their product, so I had to go out on my own and purchase these myself. But I had to have The Abyss and True Lies because it's the first time ever in a high definition format. They were non-anamorphic before we got these 4K releases. They've been ultra controversial because of the AI that was employed in the transfers from the director, James Cameron. So I'm going to give you my take on these two titles for what it's worth. First off, the better one of the two, and that would be The Abyss. And there's a look at the back of that. I thought the transfer on The Abyss was well, first of all, the audio is quite stunning. There's no problems with the audio whatsoever that I could detect. I was very impressed with it. It sounded really good on my 7.1 surround system. So no complaints from me on that one. The picture, a little more problematic. There was a slight hint of film grain in this transfer. It was extremely sharp to the point where it almost looked like a lot of DNR had been used, where it was overly sharp in some instances. But there's a lot of detail on display in the picture that you certainly couldn't see before in the old transfer. So The Abyss, I would recommend it for sure. If you're a fan of the film, it's a must-have. And you get some new extras here with that. You get both cuts of the film, of course, the theatrical and the special edition, which most of us prefer the special edition. And you get a deep dive, a conversation with James Cameron, the legacy of the Abyss, Under Pressure, the making of the Abyss, which is a feature, a 1-hour documentary that was included on the Laserdisc that I owned about 30-some years ago. It's hard to believe it's been that long. There's archive stills and video. I think maybe this new documentary was partially shot for a Blu-ray that never materialized, I believe. But anyway, I would give the transfer on this probably a B+. And the film itself is, an A, of course. It's James Cameron doing what he does best. I much prefer The Abyss over Avatar, either one of them. That's just my opinion. So, yes, The Abyss, recommended. I would say worth picking up. True Lies, the other one, is, again, there you go. I'm trying to get that in the frame where you can see it. And maybe you can get a better look at it there. Yeah, True Lies is the more problematic of the two, I would say. It's a little more waxy looking, the picture is. It just has more of a waxy... It's very DNR'd. Again, some scenes look incredibly sharp and very detailed, and then some not so much. So it's a mixed bag, but again, the audio is spectacular, and you're not going to be let down on that front. Again, there's a documentary here that was partially shot to be included on a Blu-ray that never materialized, just like the other one. And there's archives, script, artwork, marketing, again, this transfer probably would get a C from me, but the audio would get an A- if I were rating the audio, and the audio on The Abyss also the same. But it's good to have both of these in 4K. I will not be buying Aliens based on what I'm seeing with True Lies and The Abyss, because I already have a pretty spectacular Blu-ray of that was put out years ago, and it retains a lot of the film grain that was in the original film, and I just don't see the point in upgrading based on what I've seen with these. These were essential because they've never been issued in a high definition format before, but the other one has, and so I don't see the point in doing it. If I were a James Cameron completist, yes, and if I didn't already have the Blu-ray, yes, but I do, and I don't see the point in it. So anyway, what we will do next here is there were 2 other Kino releases that I didn't get to on the last video. Last video I did 2 of the Kino Lorber releases, and I'm going to do the other 2 that I got this month. One was Paint Your Wagon. Let's see if we can get a better shot of it there. And it's a little bit of a glare there. Yes, it has been opened. You're probably saying, has it actually been opened? Yes, it has. I tend to keep the shrink wrap on my discs to keep them looking as new as possible. So yeah, I cut the shrink wrap out of the top, and then I just Paint Your Wagon is a musical from Paramount, released in 1969 to diminished box office returns. It was at a time when the studios were insisting on trotting out those musicals, and musicals were a dying breed. There had been several flops. Hello, Dolly and Julie Andrews was in Star. Both of those were 20th Century Fox releases that really tanked. Dr. Dolittle was another 20th Century Fox release that didn't do very well, musical. And, of course, On a Clear Day, You Can See Forever was another musical. And Darling Lily, that was another. 1970 for both of those. And 69, Paint Your Wagon was the release date on this. It's it's definitely the only musical you're going to see Clint Eastwood and Lee Marvin in that I'm aware of. It's not really all that great, to be honest. Although, if you are a fan of Paint Your Wagon, the transfer of this is spectacular. The audio is spectacular. You couldn't ask for a better transfer. So the technical stuff in terms of the transfer definitely is it's not going to let you down. But the film itself, I had never seen it, and this was an opportunity for me to finally watch it, and it just kind of fell flat. It's about prospectors in the Old West, and then they. It's I don't know. It's directed by Josh Logan, who was the man behind Camelot, and it's another film that I never was a fan of either. But if you're a fan of Paint Your Wagon, it's also Gene Seberg starring in this. I would recommend picking this one up. Depends on how much you love the film or not. Another Kino release is The Manchurian Candidate. I'm trying to get that out of the glare. That's a white title there. It's kind of hard to see it. Yes. And this is a remake, of course, of the 1962 film. The original was a classic, and everybody was asking at the time, why remake it? And it's a political thriller about basically brainwashing and things of that sort. It was made during the Cold War era when Kennedy was president, of course, and it was for many years it was unavailable, but then it was reissued in the 80s, and it's pretty widely available now. And the remake of The Manchurian Candidate retains the basic structure of the original film, of the plot, but instead of it being the Cold War, here it's the Iraq War, to contemporize it a little bit. It's directed by Jonathan Demme, who, of course, was the director who had won an Oscar for Silence of the Lambs in 1991, and he just never, after he won that Oscar for Silence of the Lambs, he never quite had another success that could match that one, and this is no exception. It's a mixed bag, but it really doesn't quite hold up against the original Manchurian Candidate. Again, the transfer is spectacular. The audio is spectacular on this. You get commentary by Jonathan Demme, that's archival, of course, and the enemy inside, the enemy within, inside the Manchurian Candidate, and the cast of the Manchurian Candidate, the featurettes here, and a screen test. I meant to mention that you get a new audio commentary on Paint Your Wagon also by Lee Marvin's biographer, Dwayne Epstein, whom I've interviewed on my podcast. Really nice guy. And screenwriter and author C. Courtney Joyner and film historian Henry Park. So those are the remaining Kino Lorber releases that I got for the month of March. Yes. Losing my train of thought there. I was going to get to a couple of Scream Factory titles, but it looks like I'm trying to keep these videos short. So for now, we'll just leave it with those 4 titles, and I will post a video really soon covering some of the Scream and Shout Factory releases that I got for the month of March. So stay tuned. Thanks for those of you who do watch my videos. I know I don't have the fan base that a lot of my competitors do, but there are a few of you who tune in and like to hear what I have to say, and there are some of you who listen to my podcast too. And for those of you, I am thankful and grateful. Like, subscribe, all that stuff that you do on YouTube. And until next time, keep those discs a-spinning.